everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be colouring in Kerby Rosanes Fragile Whirls, and I've picked this double page spread of the black footed ferrets. I thought I would use my Derwent inktense today. So these are a selection of colours that I got single stock. I believe I got about 31 pencils. So there I'm just showing you I've got some kitchen roll, Princeton Neptune watercolour brushes, which I love. And I was originally going to post this in real time, but something went wrong with technology. It won't let me upload the full video in real time, so I've had to time lapse it, unfortunately. So I have just picked out some colours here, and I will link all these pencil colours that I've used in the description of the video. But I think the first colour that I'm using here is the bark, and it's number 2000. And I start off with a hard pressure right at the base, so that's where I want the darkest pigment, and then I start easing off the pressure slowly towards, as I'm getting closer towards the top of the animal. You will notice as well as we get along in this video that I picked out a wrong shade in the Derwent inktense for this first ferret that I'm colouring here. I do go back to it and rectify it, but it does look like a bit of a disaster at the start. So do stick with me, it does turn out well in the end, I promise. Do stick with me, and you can see how I push through my struggles using these Derwent inktense, and it turns out okay in the end. I do complete all of the ferrets in this time lapse, and then I will be doing a part 2 to this video, which is going to be the background, and hopefully I can film that in real time for you. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, this one. So I do add a second colour, I think, shortly, or I go on to the face of the ferret. I think I might have just added some oak or some saddle brown there. This is the baked earth colour, which is 1800, and the saddle brown, which is 1740. And I'm using these around the ears and the top of the head. And then I do go in with the, some more baked earth around the mouth. That was one of the other mistakes I made. I didn't like it in the end, that baked earth around the mouth. But this is the bark that I'm putting down now, which is 2000. And then I'm just activating it all now with the water. So I found as well that I did have a little bit of pilling with this paper, and what that is, I'm not really good at describing it, but the best way I can describe it is when you put too much water down on the paper and you almost see the paper sort of get this textured grainy sort of effect that you really don't want. So it did start doing that a bit in some areas, but I did go over this ferret a couple of times, and I think that's why. I was trying to rectify something I'd done that I didn't like, so I did have to keep adding more water. I'm going in with the ink black for the nose, the eyes, and sometimes a little bit around the mouth. The ink black is 2200. So I think I was just explaining that I'm going to go in with this amber colour. Now this is the colour that I put down in regret. So I'm not even going to give you the pencil number for that one because you do not want to put that colour on your ferret. If you're doing your ferrets, use the oak shade instead, where I'm using this amber. So use the oak, which is 1730. I didn't like how that went down. It was way too yellow, that amber shade. I don't know what made me put that down. But yeah, if you're following along in any way, use the oak instead. You will see I allow that to dry and then I go back over it. So moving on to the second ferret, and starting at the bottom again with a hard pressure to get that darkest pigment at the bottom of the feet with the Bark 2000. And then you'll see here I bring the oak into it. So that's the oak, and that is 1730. So activating that now with water, and you can see already that this one is turning out a lot nicer than that first one. The colours are perfect now, the colour choices to what this animal looked like on my reference picture. So you can see as well that just down the side of the legs I have left this sort of white little stripe, and that's because I went in with a lighter colour on those areas just so they didn't get lost, because if I'd have done it all in the bark, sort of you wouldn't be able to see those legs defined. It would have got lost in the shadows almost. So going in with baked earth again for around the ears and a bit on the head, that was 1800. And then the oak, 1730. And that is the Bark that I'm going in with the darkest colour now, which is 2000. And then the ink black on the nose, eyes and mouth, which is 2200. And activating it all again, I was activating the lightest areas first and then trying to blend in the other colours. They're really quite tricky to work with, these Inktense. It has to be said, there's not much room for error. As you know, once these are dry and activated, then there's no moving them around. This one I felt had more structure around its face. This was more like the reference picture. On the reference picture, they do have this sort of white line around the face and they have the white nose. So on the first one, I'm going over that amber with the oak shade, like I explained before. Activating that. I turned out still not being happy with that colour, so at some point I do go over it with a bit of the bark, but obviously I had to allow it to dry. So moving on to the third ferret, I do this one the exact same as I did the second ferret there that you can see at the side of it. So going in with the bark first and then the oak. And then on his face, the same colours as the second ferret that I did. So I'll let you watch this for a bit and we'll come back soon. So here's where I decide to try and fix this for the third and final time. So I do go in with more of that bark to try and cover up this colour that I put down originally. And I fix its face, I just make it a bit more precise around the face, like the other ones that I'd done. But it was pretty much trial and error this page. Obviously the first one didn't go to plan, but the ones after that I did feel like I was rather happy with them. So here I'm just drying it off with my heat gun a little bit. This is the Ranger heat gun. You can get this one on Amazon. I find it really good. I use it whenever I'm using watercolours or water mediums. So I'm activating that now. And you can see that's a lot better. That's covered up that bright yellow. So I'm just putting the eyes in. And now I'm using my Arteza white gel pen to just pop some little highlights in their eyes. I do really love my Arteza gel pens. They went out of stock for the longest time, and then they came back in stock on Amazon, and I did order the 12 set because I just didn't want to run out again. I absolutely adore them. So now I'm moving on to the last 3 little ferrets on the left hand side of the page. And now I really know what I'm doing. I'm comfortable with the colour choices that I made, and I just continue to do the same for each ferret as we move along. So this is the page so far. Well, that was really testing on my Derwent inktense abilities. I was really getting frustrated at some points. It was just, I find them a challenge on bigger areas like this. But they're done now. I might add extra details in with my Faber-Castell Polychromos right at the end, but we'll see. But I'm going to leave it like that for now. Part 2 is going to be all the background. I think I am going to go in with some sort of watercolour, or maybe just a base of soft pastel actually. I might go in with a base of soft pastel just to save the paper, because it was pilling a bit on some of these areas. So yeah, maybe that's safer just to go in with a soft pastel for the rocks and then details in pencil over the top for part 2. But I hope you enjoyed seeing me struggle using these a bit, but sometimes it is nice to see other people working through things that they maybe find a challenge, like me with the Derwent inktense. So I'll drop the list of pencils that I used in the description of this video, and watch out for part 2. Please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. See you soon, everybody.